Just,
you know?
have you got to that stage where you can, when you're watching, you can literally read what people are trying to do?
Yeah. Yeah. At this point, yeah.
Even black belt, where you can see that they're going for the arm bar, or yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And that helps when you're competing, I imagine, like massively. Because
of course.
You anticipate everything, the arm movement, you can see, right, I'm gonna get,
Yeah.
under the elbow.
You know, I mean, a lot of that's based on feel. So what I started doing when I was a brown belt, especially because I competed a lot when I was a brown belt. And I competed a lot my first 2 years of black belt, until me and my wife got married, because then it was, I had to plan for a wedding. Because I had to, I was, obviously working, I had my own gym at that time, and we were planning a wedding. So, I mean, trying to compete and do all that other stuff, I'm not trying to go get, skull fucked at a tournament. Not trying to happen. But what I would do as a brown belt is I started rolling with my eyes closed. And that really calmed me down a lot. And because, when you're taking in things visually, you can overwhelm yourself, especially with 3 months on the mat. Yeah. Because it's going to be like, let's go. Your brain is just a visual overload is just enormous. So if we can take that sense out, and then the only thing you can deal with is feel, well, you have to calm down. And you got to learn how to breathe. You got to learn how to react. You got to learn how to use science. I try and tell my students, listen, because I have a background in sports medicine. So I tell my students, you need to have a little bit of an understanding of anatomy. If I can understand that this joint can only go this far, I can use that to my advantage. If I know that you're going this way, let me use the physics of it and just make you go that way. Now we start doing Jiu Jitsu, the strength to Jiu Jitsu spectrum. When you start out as a white belt, you're 100% strength, 0% Jiu Jitsu. And then as you get closer to black belt, we start to get to, we're never ever going to be 0% strength.
Yeah. I've noticed that actually when I've been rolling with, smaller dudes, I can physically rough them about, but I just find that their strategy completely, I just get exhausted because I'm just constantly trying to get them in.
And you'll figure that out. I mean, that's nothing wrong with that. That's that. I did the same thing when I first started. When I first started MMA, because I started out first I wrestled in high school. So when I got into MMA, getting choked was. I remember when I started training MMA, my teacher at the time, this guy named Elias Rivera, he would make me start when we did what was called randori. And, that was just sparring, when we called it randori. And he would make me start with somebody in a rear naked choke on my back. So, I mean, because I would freak out so much when somebody got my neck, I would choke myself out. So eventually, over time of doing that, and then I got, I developed up the confidence, and then, once I got confidence in my defense and my ability to survive in the position, then learned how to escape the position. Now it's getting choked. I'm, somebody choking me out. It's pretty tough to choke me out now. But I mean, that took a lot of just, mental and just all right, suck it up. And then when I went from MMA to gi in training jiu-jitsu, that was a whole nother world. Just getting tied up and smoked, and that cardio was a whole different kind of cardio than MMA was. And then that was a whole nother learning curve. So and you have to just embrace it all and just love it. Love it for what it is. And then becoming a black belt, and competing at black belt, that's a whole nother learning curve that you have to eat,
Sure. Oh yeah.
But it's all good, because it's all for self improvement.